Mr. Smoke?
We didn't say break it.
That's right. Wow, that's a first for us, isn't it? That's right. Please stand for the pledge. Silence this before we. Good. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let everybody please stay standing for prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we ask that you lead us, that you guide us, and that you help us in our decision making as we try to do what's best for Howard County, we try to do what's best for the citizens, and we try to do what's best for the taxpayers. Just lead us and guide our decisions. Watch over the people of Howard County, watch over the people of the state of Indiana, and watch over the United States. Help our leaders at all levels try to be the best stewards of the taxpayers that they can be, and help guide their decisions as well. It's in your Son's precious name that we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Alrighty. Entertain motion to, or any special announcements or recognitions at this point?
I do.
Okay.
This week is National Police Officers Recognition Memorial Week. Today, May 15th, is National Police Memorial Day. So on March 20th, 2016, we lost one of our own, Carl Kuntz. So I think it's fitting that we take this time and just do a moment of silence and remembrance of Carl, keep him in mind, keep his family in mind, and keep all of our law enforcement officers here in our county, here in our city, across the state, our federal officers. Let's just take a moment of silence for all those officers that we've lost. So if we could take a moment of silence for those. Thank you. Get a chance, see a police officer, law enforcement officer, say thank you for what they do for us. So thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Jack. Entertain a motion to approve last minutes.
So moved.
For second.
Okay, whichever way we got here. A motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? They are approved. Terminal reports. Corrections, Mr. Day, looks like you're up.
So I provided a copy, actually a couple copies up there of a contract, and I have another one here in front of me. This is, while this is a new contract, this is the same company that we've been using for our bracelets. They are a wholesaler basically, and so we switched actual companies that they send to us, and for some reason in their contract they actually use the name of the bracelet, and so we just basically, you're looking at a contract that you guys have already signed in the past, just changing the names to protect the innocent, I guess that's the way I say it. But we switched bracelets just simply for contract wise and price wise, nothing changed. We demo bracelets pretty much on a regular basis just to see what's out there, what's better, what's not better. This company, when we did our last audit prior to COVID, this company that we're using here as a wholesaler, they brought us a couple of different bracelets to look at. We actually went with the other bracelet that we're using now because the software was so much better. This bracelet that we've switched to recently, this wholesaler company has developed their own software for us to see and track. And so it's a better, more accurate, I think, is what we found. Before our bracelets, you'd see, I could tell that somebody was at the courthouse, but that was about it. Now I can actually see that bracelet is sitting in my office. So it's a lot more accurate. I could tell what parking space he used in front of the courthouse and stuff like that. So we just thought it was better and safer for our community to make the switch now that the software was easy to use. And hence, I didn't realize that we were going to be changing contract and everything else. But that's the way they do their contracts. And so I told them we would honor that. And I'd get it in front of you guys for a signature.
Had
and
had Alan looked at this?
Alan looked at it, I
Yes.
believe,
Okay, you're
already,
good?
so.
Okay.
Yes, I'm good with it. What about cost-wise? Is it the
It's the
same?
same.
Cost is still the same, yeah. We, I can probably find a little cheaper, but I'm definitely gonna lose accuracy and some other things with it, so we've kinda.
That much more accurate.
We've kind of
definitely.
taken the middle of the road. We've actually had a benefit with these bracelets too. These bracelets run off of Wi-Fi, and so some of the big factories that we have people going into, we just lose them throughout the whole day. And if their battery dies, we could lose them, permanently. These bracelets actually grab the Wi-Fi, so even Jeremy probably could attest to this better than I can, but I can actually pick up and it can piggyback off of the Wi-Fi wherever, so I can see that they're still in the factory, where they're at in the factory and stuff like that. So
That's a lot
there were a
better.
lot of benefits to making this change. I'm sorry for the hassle of, the extra contract and different things we have to sign. But,
Ballpark, how many people do we have on bracelets?
we're around 300 right now.
No.
Yeah. I am definitely at the highest that I've ever been. It's the other benefit with this company is a lot of my surrounding counties were having trouble during COVID. These guys were able to get me bracelets when we were emptying out the jail pretty regularly. One of the benefits is definitely their customer service. They are here about
That's a
once a
plus.
week, coming and picking up bad bracelets or
Nice.
switching out bracelets or whatever. He drives from southern Indiana, and he's got a coworker that lives kind of over just inside Ohio, so sometimes he comes over. So we've been very pleased with Total Court Services. They've been good
Nice.
to us, and short of the contract just having to be
Sure.
change a few words here and there.
That's fine.
I'd make a motion to accept the new contract.
Okay, and would allow me to sign this as the community corrections representative.
Yes.
As stated, yeah.
And I'll second that
second.
since you signed it. Then have a motion second on the floor. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's approved.
All right,
Thank you,
thank
Brian.
you. Appreciate that.
Next up, Highway Department, Amber Toll.
Well, mine's pretty easy, hopefully. All I have is our annual operations report that we need to submit, so I just need signatures so that we can submit that.
All right.
Hey, Amber, real quickly, I want to thank you for what you guys did out on 600. I had several people say that since 26 is shut off,
Yeah,
they've been using that road, and people, you built the ditch up's what you did.
Yeah.
If they go, there were several wrecks. There was a wreck in Clinton County this past week when somebody was lifeline. So
Mhm.
what you did in Howard County has really solidified that area there. So
Thank
I
you.
appreciate that.
thank you. Yeah,
I've
we'll
had-
continue
I've had
to monitor.
two phone calls saying that they appreciated you.
Oh,
doing it.
thank you.
So,
It's good to hear.
If you got what you need signed or,
I just need you guys to sign
Yeah.
it. You need to.
guess we need to make a motion to sign this, accept any report and sign it.
This is just our operations report based on our approved budgets and our
Right.
spending.
And our IT guru took care of our DocuSign problem, so Colette, I think, is happy with the state
Thank
now
you.
for that. Yeah, so that was a good thing.
Thank you. Oh, sorry.
Anything else? You good? Thanks, Amber. Maintenance, Bill Stone Street.
Mine's even easier than Amber's.
Hey,
I need a new backflow preventer at the jail. I did get quotes on this. The first quote was well over $10,000, so I went shopping. Quality Plumbing and Heating is gonna put in a new one for us for $5,132.95. And I can pay this from LIT 1114.32510. It's my building and structure repair account. It just exceeds the $5,000 I'm authorized to spend.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Motion is second to approve it. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for shopping around, Bill.
Yeah.
No problem.
Okay, new business. I guess we have Jeremy wants to do something under new business, I was told. Oh, that's fine. If Matt wants to go first, that's fine. Go on, Matt. Come on up, Matt. Jeremy's yielding to you.
All right, well, I brought some handout.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, so I appreciate the opportunity to come and present to the commissioners and to say thank you for the support that you have generously given Turning Point. As you may recall, was a couple of years ago when we had conversations about we needed infrastructure within our community to help reduce the pressure on the jails for overcrowding and also to help the emergency departments. And so we sought to put in a recovery stabilization center, drop-in center. And I'm very happy to be able to report to you that since we opened the Recovery Stabilization Center, the 12-bed detox stabilization supports, we've served over 200 people through that program alone. And that program isn't just for helping people avoid getting sick and so they keep using. It basically helps people not just come in and go through detox, but really to make sure we've got an appropriate recovery support plan in place so that they're not just going back and using once they leave there. Moreover, we are right now, to my knowledge, the only place in Howard County that somebody could come in and drop in outside of an emergency department 24/7. And so that, again, helps take that pressure off of the emergency departments. And we work actively with St. Vincent's and Community Howard to make sure people are getting the care they need. So when people come in for a medical support because they've just had an overdose, we work with them to make sure they're getting linked up with us, make sure they're getting coaching or they're getting coordinated with appropriate care. So we also knew that not everybody's going to be needing substance use support, and so we have on site 2 crisis chairs that people can use for up to 24 hours. This is a respite support. So again, in terms of trying to meet the needs of the community, we've been thoughtful about how can we most be as accessible as possible, as most helpful as possible. But again, that was a vision then, and now it's a reality. And it's a reality partly because of the funding and support that the county has given us. There's no doubt in my mind we could not have gotten the building that we got without the county support. There's no doubt in my mind that we couldn't be operating through this learning curve without the funding and support of the counties. When I think about Turning Point started as and continues to be a space where we look for needs and try to meet those needs. And so when I think about over the past year, putting the Recovery Cafe in place, the Discovery Cafe for youth in place, that in so many ways has helped individuals go from homelessness to a place where they feel comfortable and start to engage in case management supports to get the housing support that they need. Many of them are pretty comfortable being out on the streets, but they are also self-medicating or using drugs in other ways. And it's through the relationships that they build, because we ask nothing of them. We give them a space to come in for that cafe. And then they start saying, well, maybe it's okay for me to meet with somebody. Maybe it's okay for me to meet with a coach. And then they get connected to treatment spaces, whether it's their Turning Point, whether it's their community, Fort County. We just want people to get help wherever it is. But we could not have done that without the county support and help. We also want to acknowledge that, I regularly think about where were we 10 years ago? 10 years ago was before 2014, and people with substance use rarely had insurance to be able to be taken care of. One of the things that we also knew is while there's many things out there for people with commercial insurance, for people that are most likely to be in the shadows, those that might qualify for Medicaid now do qualify for Medicaid, we've done so much more because of what Turning Point offers. So when we think about that, 28-day programs didn't really exist too much for Medicaid individuals. So now that we're able to provide that linkage and support, our community is much stronger, particularly for those that are much more vulnerable. The other thing I wanted just to mention is that many of the services that we offer, we don't necessarily do for fee-for-service, meaning Medicaid anyway. Many of the things that we do are funded through grants. And so for us to be able to do support in the jails for reentry, to make sure that when people are coming out, they've got somebody that can walk side by side with them, so they're not going back to people, places, and things that got them in trouble in the first place. But that's possible because of the funding that in part we get from the county. So I wanted to make sure we just were able to say thank you, to be able to provide you with a document that gave you a list of achievements and updates. I also wanted to mention that I'm really proud of the fact that we have such a positive experience rating. When we look at care experience, over 90% said they gave us a very favorable endorsement. And so I think that helps reassure you that the dollars that you provide to Turning Point are being used well in a way that those services are being received well by those recipients. We served over 1,500 people last year. Generally, in any given month, we have over 450 people that receive services through Turning Point at this point. So we've come a long way, and we've come a long way improving, I think, and expanding our services to make sure that now, if we need somebody that needs access to medication-assisted treatment, and they haven't been able to get in through other channels, they can now use the Bridge Clinic through Turning Point. That's life-saving. The fact that we do also intensive outpatient services to support those individuals who may need additional care, that want to choose Turning Point for whatever reason, they have that option to do so. But we also collaborate very, very well with Fort County and Community Howard. We have representatives on our board from both agencies, and I can't say how important it is to make sure we maintain these collaborations. But Turning Point, again, is committed to making sure we're making a difference in the community, and we couldn't do it without your support. So with that, let me pause and see if you have questions for me regarding the report or services that we offer.
Thank you for all you do.
Matt,
Yep.
the numbers, first of all, thank you for everything you guys are doing. And I'm really excited to see the numbers of Howard County residents
Yeah.
that you guys are serving. The funds that we support, I'm glad to see those go into Howard County residents.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Now, with these numbers, are these numbers, are there repeat customers in these numbers, or are these?
It's a great question. When I look at the count of 1574, those are discrete individuals being served. So when I look at, we serve over 450 people on average per month. Those can be, the same people could be in that multiple counts across the different months. But if I basically look at just for 2022, it was 1,574. So those are discrete individuals. What I think is interesting is, as we've now launched this unit, you've got over 200 individuals, discrete individuals that are served to that unit. That's not duplicates. And I think you'll find that 2023, we basically grow considerably because of the amount of people that are coming in through that unit and that they need the follow-up care. Now, we still make pretty assertive efforts to get people connected to our other partners here in the community. But whether it be the shelters or whether it be the community mental health centers, we still regularly partner because, or even some of our sober living partners, Wabash Recovery, for example, they still basically are sending people to us if they've had a relapse. They can't keep them in the sober living space if they're actively using. So they'll basically consider having them come in through the unit for a period of time before they go back. Moreover, again, if we're looking at the wait for people to get medication services through our community mental health centers, it's several weeks. So we've got to make sure that people are coming out of jail, if they needed Vivitrol, that they can come back to Turning Point and get that through the Bridge Clinic. Or if you have people that are going from the emergency department and have been prescribed psychiatric meds, if they go to Turning Point, that they can get in and we'll basically make sure that they get continued care. But our focus obviously isn't to try to grow medication services. We couldn't afford to do it, to try to compete or to duplicate those services. It's really about just making sure we're closing those gaps so that people can stay healthy and also sober and move their lives and their recovery journey along. So
1574, is that where we're gonna be maxed out, where you can't serve anybody else, what number is that?
I don't have a max number on my mind. I haven't thought about that, to be honest with you, in terms of like if we had like 3,000 people. What we do is we continue to work with the state to get grant funds. We obviously depend on support from the counties and from the city, but we basically also are leveraging insurance as much as possible now. So when we think about that 12-bed unit, that's basically being billed to Medicaid and HIP using a 3.5 substance use residential. It's a subacute unit effectively, but to make that sustainable, that couldn't be dependent totally on grants or other funding. So we have to go for that. But to I think better acknowledge this point is, I think the county should know and should be appreciative of knowing, we talk regularly with our state partners to say, we need to increase the rates for peer services. When those rates were established, they were established about since 2010. And the vision of them was not working in the way that we work now. So those rates help, but they don't necessarily cover the full cost of any care. So to be able to scale is one of our missions. Mission elements and focus, and so we become pretty crafty. We look for grants all the time. We want to make sure we're leveraging state and federal dollars and getting into those things to make sure that we're able to be sustainable, but also to scale our services.
And I appreciate the fact that you said you worked with Howard and Fort County, and we got a lot of people doing a lot of, I don't know if they're similar services, because I don't know what everybody's doing. But we got Valley of Grace, we got you guys, we got First City, we got Howard, and we got Turning Point.
There definitely is some overlap in when you think about it, but what I would say different about Turning Point is Turning Point isn't a extended residential program like what you'd see with Valley of Grace or Wabash Recovery. But housing is absolutely a critical need, and not just housing, it's a stepped housing. You can take them from the stabilization center and they do pretty well, but then sometimes, even in a sober living program, that's not enough structure. We've got to continue to build that continuum of care out. The things that we do, like cafes, the things that we do with the stabilization, neither Fort County or Community Howard do those things. And so probably from an outside look, it looks like, wow, they're doing a lot of stuff that's similar. That's understandable, but there's definitely distinctive differences, and that's why the collaboration between the different parties is so important. From my standpoint, Turning Point definitely does things that are different than what community mental health centers have done in the past.
When we first started working with Turning Point, one of the things was going to be when a police officer ran into somebody in the community, that this was an alternative to taking them to jail. How's that working out?
I think pretty well. In fact, Joe Eder is our community liaison. I think he's worked with the Kokomo Police Department. I think the last week, and he has a couple more this week. They've done 6 trainings with street officers. It's one thing to let chief know about it. It's another thing to let kind of the higher level leaders know about it. But you need to reach the street cops. And the reason why is they're the ones who are actually picking people up and seeing them. And so they need to be very comfortable with what works for Turning Point, what doesn't. We don't want people saying, you can go to Turning Point or I'll take you to jail, because that creates a coercive dynamic. That's not going to work so well. But it's like, look, if you need the help you need, Turning Point's an option, and we can take you over there if they don't think they need to go to the emergency department for various reasons. So both Sheriff and Chief Stout have been very supportive of this idea of when it's appropriate, take them to Turning Point. It doesn't hurt anything. It just helps people get connected to resources. And then again, we're available 24/7 for exactly that purpose. We want first responders to have an option that doesn't congest the emergency department and doesn't necessarily congest the jail.
And are your caregivers going to the jail and walking side by side with people coming out?
They do. We've had, let's see, Lieutenant Byers, just recently, we've had to do a little bit more coordination with balancing what's happening in the jails with the courts and stuff. But generally, we have 2 FTEs that work in the jails to basically round with them, to not just get a quick assessment of you're going to be leaving pretty quick. It's to build a relationship with them. If they can build a relationship while they're incarcerated, then they're more likely to connect with the friendly face when they're out. And as you know, you don't get to pack to go to jail. You oftentimes have nothing with you other than what you were wearing. And so getting connected to clothing spaces, food shelters, or other kinds of resources is really important so that they're not going back to the people, places, and things that led them to be incarcerated in the first place. But reentry is a huge important thing. And I think the other piece that we've been doing that's less traditional is supporting some individuals in the school, particularly with Maple Crest schools. And we've done some work with Kinsey and are doing a little bit of work with Kokomo School Corporation. But our main interest there is we know kids use drugs, sadly, at earlier ages. And we want to make sure they stay in high school, that they're living healthier. But if you can help make sure kids follow through with just getting their diploma, then they do much better with not getting involved in criminal justice, living a life of poverty, and having other problems with substance use or mental health issues.
Last question I have is, on your most frequent clinical conditions, several of those would be mental health conditions, is that correct?
Yeah, I put that intentionally because I wanted people to know that while Turning Point has historically focused on substance use recovery, you often see people with significant psychiatric or mental health issues. But we also, as we've expanded therapy services and other coaching services, people that don't have necessarily a primary issue with substance use are still coming to us because they appreciate the structure of the cafe, or they need the coaching, or they need just help of saying, I don't know what to do, and they need that side-by-side kind of help to get connected with the right treatment providers. So it's important to note that Turning Point isn't just a substance use treatment facility or recovery facility.
Well, I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to come up and talk to us.
My pleasure. My
Thank
pleasure,
you.
and a
Thanks,
huge
Matt.
thank you to you
Thank you.
for all the work that you do, because honestly, the commissioners, your vision, your support, it makes this work to help meet those needs of the community.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We appreciate you.
Your turn, Jeremy.
All right.
Hard act to follow, Jeremy.
No, I know it. All right, I have two things tonight. One is Spyglass. Spyglass is a communication assessment vendor. We used them in 2012, and what they do, they come in and look at your, at that time, phone lines, see if there's any discrepancies, waste, fees, surcharges that were being charged to stop it, and then you'll have annual savings. They do this, there's a no charge assessment, meaning that they come in, look at all your paperwork, and how they get paid is if they find annual savings, they charge you one-time annual savings, and then they're going after, you see those savings. So in this latest assessment, they state that they could save $6,617 every year. So that is their fee. And of course, they tout that after 5 years, that's going to be, 33,000 savings, minus 6,000. But even after that, I mean, saving money, it's, we used them in the past. Now, they didn't find, in the past, we saved over $10,000 annually. Now, we don't use the same kind of phone system we did back in 2012, so they didn't find that, but they've expanded, because they know voice over IP is the phone system now. So they expanded to cell phones and internet communication lines. Things they stated they found, and I believe I sent that report to your guys' email, is basically fees being charged that should not be charged, specifically with Comcast, and consolidation of cell phone lines. So there are some departments that have cell phone accounts that may not be taking advantage of the pricing by coming under a main county account and then ordering things in bulk. And that's what I'm here now is requesting authorization or permission to spend $6,617 to have them proceed. That includes implementation. So once we give them the approval, they're the ones that deal with Verizon, they're the ones that deal with Comcast, and all the communication service we have to make that change, up to 6,000. I think that a few of those, they may not actually be realized, but only the ones that are realized are the ones that we pay for. And so last time, this came out of since the cell phone bill, it comes out of the Commissioner's Communications account, and that's where it came out last time. That's why I'm recommending we pay that $6,617 out of the Commissioner's Communications account. I checked with Jessica, the auditor, and she said that is in there.
You've used them in the past, they followed through and did everything?
Yeah, they did
like
everything.
they
It was
promised?
Terry Tribby's watch, but
Okay.
everything worked. I verified with the auditor that the numbers looked right, and so they came back and said, "Hey, been what, 11 years? Would you like to do another one? Well, let's do it." We don't have to. We're under no obligation to do this, but
We can save that on an annual basis. I mean, it's
Yeah.
well worth it, so.
Basically, the 6617 is for 5 years?
no, it's a one-time
One-time charge.
charge right now. That every year we save that exact same amount. That's where they came up with that number. Whatever annual savings that we see,
Right.
that's the one-time charge we get.
Right. So we save that annually, at that
Yeah.
one-time cost, it certainly makes financial
Sounds like
sense to
it's-
do that. So I'll make a motion to go ahead and let Jeremy enter into that agreement.
I'll second.
Motion and second to approve the agreement. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you. And the last thing I have is I would like to give you an update on the county website. I've been working on that for a few months now. The county's last website update was in the year 2015. We've had several iterations. Every time it gets a little better as the technology changes. We finally, thanks to the intern program we just started, he's actually finished all the content and it's given to the state, who's the vendor, to build the site. It's in the final stages of development. I'm guessing it'll be like the end of June before we'll have a sample page to show the commissioners so you guys can approve it. It'll be a modern design. It runs off the same platform and the same back-end service that IN.gov does. What this is the program, the state, they've been trying to reach out to local governments to try to increase cybersecurity and offer services such as user security training. This is just an extension of that. I've worked with them. This website costs nothing to the county. And so this is the smallest quote I got from other vendors to redo the website was like a one-time shot of $30,000 to $40,000 with annual recurring $15,000. So this is nothing, and we get enterprise grade design and hosting. And I figured worst case scenario, if they give us this demo page and we don't like it, we don't have to use it.
Will this make it easier for the citizens to access information?
I believe so. And one of the main goals, objectives of the new website I wanted to do was to clearly define in a simple way how to access services. So, for example, when you get on the county webpage and all you want to do is pay your taxes, unless you know that the treasurer's in charge of doing that and it's under the administration category, you're going to be browsing around for a minute. Well, checking out others' local government websites and borrowing some ideas from that. A lot of them have just, I want to. Here are the services. And on one page, one click, you can access things in simple English. Pay taxes, pay fees, look up warrants, commissary, all on one page, so you don't have to dig around and try to find something. So that's one of the biggest things. It's also have a special place for bulletins and information to make it a little bit easier to manage going forward with recurring things such as the election and items like that. It will be fully ADA compliant. It's a benefit that comes along with using the enterprise grade software. It will also have a calendaring system so that these meetings, council meetings, anything that we deem to be on the calendar, it'll be a simple view from the front page. You can see what's going on with Howard County government. It will also maintain the department directory structure like we have now, in case you want to look up what the auditor does and see what her duties are and the functions and any frequently asked questions. So that's a quick update, but I also would like to, when we unveil the site, if we choose it, I thought it'd be a fun idea if we solicit the Howard County citizens to submit photos of Howard County. The current pictures on the county website are the pictures I've taken. But I thought it'd be a fun idea to work with posted social media and the local media, as well as maybe that art gallery next door, and solicit any citizen of Howard County, pictures of Howard County, give them to the commissioners, and you guys can choose the top 5 that you want. We'll put them on the front page of the website, give the photographer credit, full credit, but they'll still maintain their ownership and license rights. We're not trying to take that from them, but by submitting it, they would grant us use of that for the website. And so I'd like, I guess, request permission to contact the Kokomo Tribune and HR and the other media to run this photo contest.
Great idea.
Great.
And if it works out, it could be like an annual thing every year. You get fresh blood and fresh new pictures on the page, and I think it's a fun. I know if I take photos for fun, and being put on a platform, it's neat to see. So
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
We've got some beautiful scenery around Howard County.
thank you. That's all I have.
Make it so.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Thank you. All right, moving along. Any other new business before we go on? Everybody else, everybody good? Okay. Claims report, salary claims.
$960,460.57.
I'll move to approve as presented.
Second.
Motion second approved as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved. Payroll expense.
$960,460.57.
Move to approve as presented.
Second.
Motion second to approve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved also. Operating claims.
$1,285,554.80.
Move to approve as presented.
Second.
Motion second to approve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's approved also. Any claims to ratify?
None.
How about any monthly reports?
I have weights and measures from April 16th, 2023 to May 15th, 2023.
Show those as received. How many grants to look over?
None.
No grants, you have nothing, wow. Oh. Thank you. County Attorney,
Nothing this afternoon.
nothing, thank you, Alan. Commissioner issues, Commissioner Dodd,
No, sir.
Commissioner Flinsky.
I just, once again, wanted to bring up the Stevens property, and Alan said that I'll let him speak on that.
I've not hired, but I've contacted 3 companies for quotes. 2 of them have actually been out to the property, and I'm waiting on the actual quotes to come in. I hope any day now I should get those in. I'll follow up with them later this week, but I don't have them yet.
Thank you. I think Pam has something.
I do. The commissioners need to appoint, you have a nomination to appoint Wayne Mast to the Howard County Board of Zoning Appeals.
I will move that we make that appointment.
Second.
Motion second to approve Wayne Masters to BZA. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved. Okay, moving on. That's all, Pam. Public comment. What?
What's everybody look at Brad?
Well, we figured he's got something to say. Oh, okay, Clee's got something.
Oh, we'll look at Cleve.
We'll look at Clee's now on.
I want to thank Jeremy for, I mean, I've been talking to him quite a bit about this website, and as everybody very well knows, I am very much an advocate of open government and transparency. And the website, excuse my, but it is atrocious. It really is. I mean, it's been that way for quite some time, and I've been talking to him about different things. But one thing I'd like to see is, and I've spoken to Jeremy about this too, I don't know if there are now, but there have been in the past, government elected, appointed, and so forth, individuals that have their own personal email addresses that they used for communication, whether it be sending out, meeting notices and stuff like that. And I would like to see them be, quote, required to have a government email address so that, again, for transparency purposes, it's out there. If somebody wants to, and I've asked in the past about getting emails and such from different people, but I would like to, I would like to see that. Like I said, there was one in particular, but he's gone, Jim Papasek. There was an AOL account, and when you see different things come out like that, it leaves. My opinion is, speaking through the public access counselor back when Governor Pence was in there, he had to turn over his email addresses because he was using his own personal email account. So that went through the public access counselor.
I was gonna say, don't we all have,
I'm sorry?
don't we all have?
Jeremy, I think he's got something to say about that.
Yeah, I don't want to interrupt.
No,
you.
you're fine. I've talked to him about it, so.
Just a quick point, starting January 1, internal IT policy, there's no more forwarding of emails. So it used to be where everyone had a Howard County email address, and it would be forwarded to, for certain individuals to their email account, due to new cybersecurity policies to maintain our cybersecurity insurance coverage. That is no longer. But that being said, elected officials have to make sure they choose to use the right ones, right? But there is no more. Howard County does not forward to a external email address.
Or it may go from AOL to Howard County. There were some that were doing that, I think, too.
Yeah. But as a policy, as an IT policy, starting January 1, documented policy now, it is all Howard County email communications for business should flow through Howard County email systems.
Okay.
And so,
Good deal.
It just
but
surprises me.
the key point, though, I think what McLean's making is the elected officials have to choose to use the Howard County system, or it doesn't work. So, but
think-
as a policy, it's in place.
I think it's even in the handbook, policy handbook, I believe.
Yes,
It
I
talks about
believe it
that.
is.
Or it was in the past, anyway.
It
But
can complicate things.
the other thing, and not to bring this up, I mean, I've got, address on my mailbox. I know in the past, the commissioners have required putting addresses on mailboxes. I know talking to Stan, the fire departments, out in the county, I don't think that's really been followed up on to make sure that's being done.
We don't have an enforcement, there is an ordinance, but
Well,
we're not sending the sheriffs out to
yeah, well,
enforce
the
it.
enforcement might be, we can't find your house or your house gonna burn down.
I'm sure that's.
you know,
taken from the fire
that's-
department.
Yeah. So, okay, thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Anybody else? Everybody good? Entertain motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second. Motion second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? We are adjourned.